Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our Survivor 48 Episode 5 reaction and review. Now, I know that a lot of people out there with this show, you always want to talk about Tribal Council after it happens, like the moves that happen. And it felt like in this episode, yeah, we saw Tribal Council, we saw the vote happen, but the edit really actually didn't seem that interested to talk about it either. I mean, really, this was an episode where the immunity challenge is actually, I think, the thing that got the most airtime, and it's not even close.
Absolutely. I mean, Bianca tried her best, but she just had one fatal flaw, and that is telling Cedric that she didn't have a vote. It's such an important piece of information, and I know she waited until right before Tribal, but it's enough to turn the tides, and she just didn't know Cedric well enough to know that he will go behind your back and make these moves.
I just think there's a big lesson from this season, and we've talked about this many years before, the idea of reward challenges, going on them kind of sucks. Like, yeah, you get a burger, or yeah, you get to sit down and, I don't know, sleep in a bed for a couple of hours, but everybody back at camp is like conspiring against you. Don't go on journeys. Going on journeys is terrible right now. I mean, Thomas goes on a journey, see what happened to him. Bianca goes on a journey. This happens.
Justin as well, gone.
It's just, you don't want to do anything, I think, in this game to kind of stand out a little bit. And that happened to Bianca. Bianca makes the decision that she made. I mean, we will talk a lot more about Bianca as the video goes along. Cedric's role in what seemingly happened to Bianca. I mean, this is also the weird thing about this episode, is that we still don't really have a lot of context about the specific votes, because he wasn't the only vote, and how all of this came together. And it's kind of the second straight week where we're coming out of Tribal Council a little bit confused, because they didn't show the extra vote being played last week. And then at the start of this episode, they're just like, oh, by the way, the extra vote has been played. Great.
Yeah, I wish that they had just included that in the last episode, so it's all just there for us. I mean, we're watching that episode. It's part of that episode. This is kind of like the remnants of last episode. I mean, we're going to watch this episode. It's not like we're like, oh, we're done with the show, but like, why not just have it all tied up in the one episode? So when we're all out here talking about it,
yes,
we all know what has happened.
Yes, because I was here in the video last week, and, you know, not to make this just about me, but I was here in this video last week, like, praising your beloved Team Guyana up and down, and I still think it's a great move.
It was a great move.
I wish they had held on to that advantage, because I know why they played it, but they didn't need to, and it's like, you guys still could have had that one little thing you could have come back to down the road.
Better safe than sorry, and they're here, and it seems like they're in an even stronger position. I mean, they won immunity. I mean, that's so great. It's the first time that this tribe has won immunity.
Is the curse broken?
It's broken.
Okay, the curse has been broken. We have decreed it here. We have so much to talk about in this episode. Like, yeah, there's really emotional moments. There's also really bad gameplay in this episode, and questionable gameplay from a number of people.
There's also something we're all going to have to wear our hard hats for, especially Chrissy. We're going to have a talk.
Brace yourselves, everybody, but be sure to hit that subscribe button, because that's the best way to make sure you do not miss any more Survivor coverage that is coming all season long. Also, Big Brother coming this summer on CBS. We're really excited to dive back into that crazy world. Hopefully we have a really good cast, a great season down the line.
Also, if you want more Survivor coverage, you can join our Patreon. It really helps Matt and I here at the channel to be able to continue to bring you more Survivor coverage, more videos here at the channel. And over there, we are covering exclusively The Pit, which is airing on Max. Bosch Legacy coming up this week. It is the final season for that show. And also Andor for all you Star Wars fans out there. We will be covering that over at our Patreon, and it is the only place that you can get those videos. So thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate that.
Okay, so seeing Team Guyana, we have to start with them.
Of course. Okay, let's go.
It's great to see that they were actually able to still continue to hide that they know each other as well as they do. Like, they're as close as they are. I really liked that they were able to sort of continue that on. But what I really liked was seeing this tribe come together the way that they did, where they were just like, yeah, we're not going to worry about going to tribal because we are the crew now and we are going to go to the end. We are the alliance. And, you don't see that often. You do see it on Survivor, but you don't see it that often where the whole tribe is like, yeah, we're the alliance. I was like, let's go.
Okay, I know you have already proposed this idea of having both Kyle and Camilla be
That's right.
co-winners
That's
this
right.
season. Can we have
No,
what? We can't add Joe and maybe Shaheen to this as well, and we
No,
can have a
thank you.
four-person. Okay, yeah, I'm warming up to Shaheen. I wasn't super big on him early, but Joe is my guy. Joe has been my guy
he's great.
from the start of this season, and I like these four together a lot. Now, in an episode full of questionable gameplay, I do have to ask Joe and Shaheen an important question.
Mhm.
How are you guys not seeing this? Like, how are you
know.
being snowed over by these two? Because I came on here, just like I came on here fully confident the extra vote was not played. I came on here fully confident that that vote was just going to blow everything out in the open, that there was going to be no way Kyle and Camilla were going to be able to hide all of this, and seemingly they are, and I don't understand how.
I don't know how, but good for them.
There must just be something that we're not seeing, or Kyle and Camilla continue to be putting on the acting performance of their entire life. Or Joe, you may just be too nice a guy. And I think this will eventually be your undoing, is that I think you're willing to take people at their word, and this is not a game where you can do that.
Nice people can win this game.
I hope that they can, because I want Joe to win. It's just that Kyle and Camilla have established themselves as being so smart.
They are.
So savvy, so capable of finding things. It's really bizarre in a way that, we'll talk about Star and the idol stuff later, but there are other idols out there, and we're not really seeing that much of people looking for them. I gotta believe that Kyle and Camilla are already out there looking, and they just haven't found anything.
Okay, let's talk about the gluten reward. Where all they've won are like sandwiches and croissants that are like covered in flies. I couldn't stop looking. They had like a whole like tray of croissants that were like swarming with flies. No, thank you. I have celiac. This would have been like the absolute worst reward for me. I'd just be like, all right, pass the juice, because this is the only thing that I can have.
Okay.
Wah, wah.
Well, okay. Well, number one, I have to believe that if you were on this camp, they would have supplied you with some sort of gluten-free, I don't know, tastiness to enjoy. I always do question in general, though, how good this food is, because it's probably just like sitting in the sun for hours.
It has to be the amount of flies that were all over those sandwiches. I mean, I understand that it's hot and you can only do what you can do, but like, yeah, how long have those sandwiches been out there?
And anytime I see these food rewards now at the sanctuary where good things happen, my mind now goes to, and don't spoil this for me, anyone, I'm several seasons behind, but I've been watching a little bit of the Australian version, and they do a lot of these rewards where they'll bring everybody to like a sandwich shop or a candy shop or whatever, but you have to go in one by one, and it's timed, and you just see people just like eating all this food or like making a huge mess because they're trying to find an idol cooler. So I want more of that, by the way, on these rewards than the sanctuary where they're sitting down eating their gluten that you cannot enjoy.
Oh, yeah, I know. Okay, let's talk about winning this reward, because there was a little bit of drama going on there between Say and Mary, my two favorites. I just love watching them. They're great entertainment. I love the back and forth with them. I love that they do respect each other, but that Mary's so excited. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. We already are so plentiful with food. Now we have even more food. Was it the best thing for her to say? No, nobody wants to have things rubbed in their face, but it is a competition. Now, Say on the other side is kind of like, girl, like there's a lot of people here that don't have food or don't have as much food. Like maybe this isn't the way to go. And while I understand where Say is coming from, the psychological part of this game is still part of this game.
I think this could be a weekly segment now. It's titled, Say, What Are You Doing? Which every week I find myself asking this question out loud, and yet every week Say still stays a part of the game.
That's right, Say all day.
I've compared her to Tony before. I don't know if Say's gonna win, but I had the same thing when Tony was on the show, where every week the first time I was like, Tony, what are you doing? Because on paper, like, this is a terrible thing to do, because it's just like, okay, you're coming across like a sore loser to these other people. And yeah, I understand fully where you're coming from, say, because even when I'm watching the show, and not just this week, but like every season, I even get secondhand annoyance watching these people celebrate in front of these other tribes that are
Yes.
losing. And she just doesn't have a filter, which is not great for her game, but it is also incredible television, which is why I don't want Say to suddenly have a filter. I'm not sitting here
No.
being like, I'm rooting for her demise or anything, but I'm just rooting for her to continue to have no filter and somehow being able to still correct herself every week and stay in this game.
Okay, staying on food, everybody put on your hard hat, especially you, Chrissy.
Okay.
Watching Chrissy shame Say over what she's eating irritated me to no end. I hate when people are criticizing what people are eating or how much they're eating or when they're eating. It is none of your business. And I understand that you're upset. You're giving her crap that she sat out this challenge. Chrissy, somebody had to sit out the challenge. Say said, I want to be able to play in the immunity challenge, the one that really matters,
Yeah.
because croissants and sandwiches and milk do not matter as much as immunity. And Say is absolutely right. You can't
Yeah.
criticize her for sitting out when somebody had to sit out. And then you it felt very obvious at this point that everybody has split up their food. That's like, okay, we have this amount of food.
Yeah.
Everybody gets their fair share to choose to eat when they would like to eat. Chrissy, you don't have the right to sit here and say, or act like, picking at her about what she's eating, when she's eating it. She is grown. She doesn't need you to tell her, oh, you're having a kiwi, or remember you only have an apple left. It's like, okay, yeah, she knows how much food she has. Oh, well, she didn't even play in this, so, why would she be eating? Who are you to say when somebody is hungry? It irritated me to no end. I am not a fan of that.
I think this was really, really bad for Chrissy. It's just like there's so many just bad social decisions you can make on Survivor. And I think one of the biggest ones is you got to know how to maintain camp life. Like, it's one thing for Say to say what she did at the challenge, but she's speaking about another tribe. That's not a tribe she's having to go back with.
Right.
Chrissy has to live with Say and these other people. You can't micromanage these things. And now we're going to get obviously into some serious stuff with the challenge that happens a little bit later in the episode, but I have 3 moments of absolute comedy in the first half of this episode that need to be applauded in many different ways. Jeff Probst, let's start with you. Number one, stop talking about balls in the way in which you were talking about them. I'm not trying to be juvenile in this video. Jeff, you have to know you're being memed because there is certain points when he was talking about it in the instructions where I'm not going to sit here and repeat the whole thing because I don't want to look like a child, but I was just like, did you really just say that, Jeff? Number two, when Cedric was in the middle of the challenge, I think Jeff may have had something to drink actually before he showed up because he was just like, that was an abysmal failure to Cedric as he hit the ball back in his face. If I was Cedric, I would have wanted to throw the ball at Jeff's face in the midst of all of that. Finally, it's time to visit Sitcom Dave for a moment here. There's not a lot of Sitcom Dave in this episode, don't worry. The music that they played when Dave was drinking the milk was diabolical. It was creepy. It was weird. It was hilarious. Listen, in between watching this and watching Mayfair Witches and even going back and watching The Boys, I have seen enough content with dudes and milk for the rest of my life. I'm good.
I never thought that I would see as much male milk content as I've seen in the past like year or two. It is weird. It is so much. Okay, since we are here at this gluten fest,
Okay.
it was interesting to see Charity have this moment, this real emotional moment where she was just like, oh my, like she's so happy. They're having food. They've won this. They're coming together. And she has this real emotional moment. And Eva doesn't trust Charity. So right away, she's like, I think that it's fake. But I don't think that that was fake. That didn't feel fake. It felt like she was really just having an emotional moment.
I think something that we have seen from Eva so far this season, and this could be ultimately her downfall, is that I think she's very quick to make judgments. And I'm, and I don't honestly, I don't know enough about autism to know exactly is this a full part of it or not. But I
Right.
do think that something that we've seen her do, because we saw her do this earlier this season with Star, and even immediately after the tribe swap, she sort of just makes this judgment that because she likes being around guys, that
Right.
David is the only one she's going to be able to work with.
Right.
But it seems like she makes a quick judgment here on Charity based on how she's acting in this moment. And I don't know, to be honest, if Charity's being genuine or not. I mean, could she be playing a little bit to the camera? Sure, but I don't think that means that she's being fake. And I certainly don't think that means that you can't work with her in the game. I think Survivor is about adaptability and about being able to
Yeah.
sort of go with the flow of the game, and whether Eva's going to be capable of doing that fully or not in the long run. Like that's something I just can't speak to. And obviously she's okay this week. The merge is coming. There's a chance she could be around for a while, but long term, I'm worried about her for that reason.
I just feel like Survivor is not an easy game. You're hungry, you're sleeping on the ground, you're doing these really physical challenges with very little food. I feel like when I saw this moment happening for Charity, that it was just actually happening. Sure, could it be fake? I don't think so. It just feels very much like you're tired, you
Yeah.
finally, you're winning something, you're hungry, and you're just having a moment. This is not an easy show.
Yeah, it just feels like what would her agenda be to be fake in that moment?
Yeah, it just feels like there's nothing to really gain from having an emotional moment when you're on a reward challenge. It just feels like it just came out.
Yeah, and all right, let's just go from one challenge to the other here because this, I'll be honest, this was a weird challenge for me to watch just because I had seen the previews of Probst crying and it was
Yep.
clear that it was at a challenge that this was happening. So I was just sitting here and being like, okay, I know what's coming and I kind of have to prepare for it because and not to make broad assumptions, but it was just with the way in which that this season had been edited so far, I felt coming into this episode that there was a good chance that this was going to be related to Eva, and then
Hmm.
Eva starting to struggle, getting the whole ball past the maze, and then I was just sort of sitting here, and it was difficult watching it because I kind of felt like I knew where things were going, but because this is such a real emotional thing, it's
Hmm.
it's not easy to watch. It's not something where I was just, I certainly didn't want this to happen for Eva's sake, but I knew that it probably would.
Yeah, I wanted to jump through the screen and hug her as well. I was really glad that Jeff did suggest that it's okay for Joe to go over and, hug her and hold her hands and help her, calm down and center herself. It was a nice moment. And I know Jeff said, I normally don't, it's, not against the rules, but it's something I don't normally have where tribes can go over and help each other out or comfort each other or anything like that. But it's a special circumstance, and it's a circumstance that, it needed to happen. And it was a very emotional, easily one of the most emotional moments I've seen on the show in its entirety, watching Joe and Eva together and him just holding her hands and their foreheads touching and calming her down. It was very hard to watch, but it was very emotional to watch.
Yeah, I think it's a moment that we kind of all have to step back and get a little bit of just further perspective on because I think for Eva entering the game, one of the things that really seemed to be important to her is that, yeah, she wanted to tell her story, but she wanted to tell it on her own terms. And she didn't want to
Right.
lead with just her autism and talking about it to
Right.
every single person. And, I'm somebody who I'm disabled in the sense that I'm legally blind, and but because of how I look like and how thick my glasses are, like that's something that people are pretty much going to point out right away. So I don't often really have a chance to lead with anything else to let people kind of get to know me for some other things that are going on in my life. But that's why I think I understand where Eva was coming from a lot and this is a part of me. I want to talk about it, but it's not the only part of me. And I want people to get to know these other aspects before all of this happened. But I think I applaud her for being willing to share it. At this point, I think she also probably realized it's like, okay, I need people to understand what just happened so that they will be able to relate to me and move forward as a tribe. And I think they were all really understanding. And once again, I massive props to Joe because
Mhm.
this exposes an alliance. If we just want to talk about it in game terms, like it's another reminder that I want him to win, but he's probably not going to because this alliance is just too obvious.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think that Jeff handled it really well. I wish that he hadn't at the end of it been like, "So your alliance is exposed." I'm like, "Jeff, like, yes, obviously it's exposed.
Yeah.
Everybody can see it at this point. You don't need to be over here inserting yourself into the game." It's the one thing that I've never really liked that Jeff does, where he will point out things that people can either see for themselves or maybe not see for themselves. Some people could have been like, "Oh, maybe because Joe has, kids that he wants to come over and help." And maybe there are some people that wouldn't have thought that. But now everybody knows because thanks, Jeff. Like, why?
Yeah, there was a lot of leading the witness that went on from Jeff during this conversation where it really didn't have to be. I know he kind of thinks of himself as, oh, I am the connective tissue between the players and the audience. And I briefly had a talk show and I need to be in talk show host mode. And it's just like the people kind of spoke for themselves in this moment. And I think Jeff, you may have been trying your best, but we didn't need as much from you, I think, in the moment as we got. I think Joe and Eva kind of spoke for themselves.
Let's talk about my girl Star. I
Yes.
just love her so much. I've been growing to love her more and more every single episode, and this episode the most. She's right at the top of my list with Team Guyana at this point. I She has really been trying to find a way to work with people and fit in, and it hasn't really been working, but her learning about Eva and having someone in her life that is also on the spectrum, it really hit her in a personal way that now whatever issues her and Eva were having, gone for her. She's just like, now I understand. I have a better understanding. And because it's something that has personally touched me in my life, I feel deeply for you now. And now we are well past all of that. And watching her then come to everybody and be like, "Okay, I have this beware advantage, let's figure it out together as a team." Eva opens it and Star's like, "It's yours. You did the work on this. I think that you should have it because you did the work on this." Is it the best move to give Eva this idol? Maybe, maybe not, but I think in this case, from the way that it's been edited, it was the right move because it has then changed things for Eva. She is like, "Yeah, I'm good with Star now. She didn't have to do this. She did do this. We are on the same page together. We can be working together." It was such a touching moment, but I felt very real and not like Star's like, "Oh, what gameplay can I put together? I'm going to give her this idol so that she'll trust me." It didn't feel like that at all. That might have been part of it, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like she truly just is making a bond with Eva.
I couldn't agree more. I think Star is the big winner of this episode. And I know that's ironic
Yes.
to say because she doesn't come out of this episode with the idol, but
No.
I don't even think she's necessarily thinking about all this as the moment happens. But we'll go through it anyway, in that she, like you said, she has this newfound personal connection to Eva that she didn't really understand was there
Yeah.
beforehand. And so retroactively, it's going back and helping her make sense of everything that's happened. And then beyond all that, Star is then like, okay, since we're already connecting on this level, let's connect with something that's going on in my life in the game. And I don't know if she was thinking ahead to, there might be a merge coming. We need to find a way to figure this out. Like, regardless of the reason, her getting everybody involved and then her allowing Eva to have the idol, that solidified this trust. It allowed Eva to sort
Hmm.
of finally get rid of whatever judgment that she had about Star in the game, that Star could be this great asset to her. But
Yes.
even beyond all that, and like I said, I don't think Star was necessarily thinking this way. If everyone knows that Eva has the idol instead of Star, Eva's the one who's going to be a little bit of a bigger target down the road as opposed to her. So she's basically given herself this really nice coat of insulation
Mhm.
in the game moving forward. And Star's athletic. She might be able to
Mhm.
win some immunity challenges.
Mhm.
I'm much higher on her position in the game than I was a week ago.
Yeah, I think that the tribe really respected that she did that and that she didn't just have, she had two choices, right? She could either just be like, you keep it, you earned it, you opened it, so
Yeah.
you deserve it, which felt to me like the right choice, or take it from her and be like, ah, thanks for helping me out. And then it's kind of like, is that going to put a bad taste in everybody's mouth? Or are people going to be like, well, Star did find this, so it all kind of makes sense. Or are they going to be like, well, now we know Star has this, so let's flush it out. I think that this was the best move that she could make.
It wasn't. It's so interesting now because as we look ahead now, we've got one group, the Vula group, who now all seem like they're best buddies singing Kumbaya at the campfire after,
Yep.
sharing all their stories about their past and their parents, which was a
Yep.
really big moment. But now we've also got this Lagi tribe where everybody has kind of come together. They know about this idol. And so we've got a really interesting game down the road because then you have the Siva tribe, which is a complete and total dumpster fire now.
It absolutely is.
Okay, so Bianca, what were you thinking? Because I don't really understand this logic.
Yeah, I mean, she really wanted to put together that there was going to be a tie so that then they couldn't just vote for her. But I was just kind of like, that seems like, like the worst case scenario. Why would you want to expose that you didn't have a vote? Is it not better to try to find a way to just pile the votes on somebody else? Like, I didn't understand this.
Here's the only thing I can say is just that I have a vast tendency to overthink things and I
Hmm.
will think myself to death and I will end up making really stupid decisions sometimes because I think it's the right decision. And I think that Bianca just overthought herself time and time again with this because I think she was just in this mindset of, okay, I need to stay this week. I need to stay at this tribal. If I,
Hmm.
if I do this and force a tie, I'll stay at this tribal. But she's not thinking the tribal after that when everybody kind of realizes that she lied to them and none of them are
Right.
going to want to work with her and it's going to have all these other problems because if she had just been forthcoming about this from the start, you would have given yourself a lot of time for maybe things to be arranged. Even if you don't have a vote, that doesn't mean people aren't going to be thinking of you as an asset maybe, a week or two from now.
Yeah, it's so tricky, right? If you lose your vote or you get an advantage, do you tell, do you not tell? And this season it feels like the people that tell
Yeah.
are the people that are going further and are building better connections this season.
It's true. And she just doesn't do that until it seems like literally 2 minutes before tribal. And who knows if this
Yeah.
is accurate. She then goes to Cedric and is just like, I have a secret. And then she tells him this secret after being like, you better not tell on me. You better not tell on me.
He clearly had to have told on her.
Yeah, he clearly had to have told on her. And I'm still so confused by everything that happens just because it's like, okay, you and Say didn't vote the same way. So it's just like, did you not have time to tell Say? Is this going to come back that, oh, you didn't include Say on another one of your plans? Is this a problem? Cedric was able to get 2 votes. See, Chrissy voted this way. So we'll see exactly how that all came together. It's a hard thing to kind of explain at this moment. But I think the biggest takeaway, though, is just this simple fact that it's like, okay, Bianca, you waited too long. The fact that you like put all these conditions on telling Cedric obviously made Cedric really, really wary about what was going on. And, maybe Say is upset about it after the fact, but at the same time, Say, once again, you're still in the game. You got to try to find a way to get your allies wherever you can.
Yeah.
But that's where we are coming out of Survivor 48 episode 5. So let us know what you thought of this episode. Who are you rooting for moving forward into the merge? Are you team Guyana? Are you team Joe? Are you team like 8 different people? Because there's a lot of people this season who I think are really likable and easy to root for. Let us know in the comments, and you can support us further by hitting that subscribe button, joining our Patreon. That link is in the description below. We have coverage there of the pit on Max, exclusive videos,
Hmm.
Bosch Legacy, and then also Andor, which is coming down the road. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you here next time.